So I've had these mini LED panels, one over here and one just off camera over here, for a few months now, and I've formulated some thoughts, and they're not quite what I expected, I think, to be honest. And so I've been asking myself, has it been worth spending the extra money to get these name brand Aperture MC lights versus just getting a cheaper knockoff LED light that maybe would have done the job just as well? Now, if we get straight to the main function of these LED lights, which is to produce light, to be honest, I think I've found that they do the job, and I probably would say probably as well as any other lamp for what I need it to do. Now, that's the big disclaimer for this video, is that everything that I say in relation to these Aperture MCs relates to me as a small YouTube video creator. And so I predominantly have used these lights in the last 2 months for YouTube videos. I've used it for a couple of professional shoots, but that's about it, because mainly my video content is related to YouTube. And so when it comes to YouTube, I don't really need incredible color accuracy when it comes to these lights. They're full RGB, they're full hue saturation intensity as well, and they have a full color temperature scale. So for what I need them to do, all of that is more than enough. I'll use them from time to time to add an extra light with my softbox, so I'll match them to the color temperature of my softbox, which is 6000 Kelvin. And then I also use them as fill lights, as you can see now, like in talking head shots like this. Then also in B-roll shots, I'll use them as a bit of an accent in different frames. And so again, color accuracy isn't really a huge deal for me. I know one of Aperture's marketing points with the MCs is the fact that these are really color accurate, and I don't doubt that. I'm sure they are really color accurate. But again, for me, I think when it comes to making YouTube videos, just a regular RGB would probably do just as good a job as these Aperture MCs. And so when it comes to light production, I think I probably could have gone for a cheaper alternative. If you needed these lights for like a movie production or a documentary or something where you needed the colors to be spot on, maybe that's a different story. But for a use case where I'm just using them for my YouTube videos, they're more than enough when it comes to color accurate. But that doesn't mean necessarily that I regret buying these Aperture MCs, because there's other features aside from the color accuracy that really sold me when I first bought them. First off, I have been really happy with the battery life. I've used them for multiple video shoots like this, so I've used them for maybe around an hour to an hour and a half at a time, and they haven't run out of battery. They still have a charge on them. Although when I was in the professional shoot, I did feel a little bit nervous. I was a little bit worried that maybe the battery would die and then my shot would be kind of different from when I started it. But apart from that, battery life is more than fine for what I need it to do. So I've been really happy with the battery life. Second, they've got a really good silicone diffuser that comes with each of the lights, and it does a really great job of just softening it a little bit. Without the diffuser, the light is quite harsh, and so adding that diffusion just makes everything a bit softer. As you can see in the background, with the diffuser attached, it definitely spreads it out and makes it a lot more soft. The screw thread on the bottom is also super handy, because I'll often mount them to light stands. So having that on the bottom is also really handy. Plus the magnets on the back, I haven't used them too much yet, to be honest. I've used them a handful of times, but I'm sure that they will come in handy at some point. I'm actually really happy that they've got the magnets on the back. But I mean, all of those things, again, you can get on aftermarket LED panels and video lights. Those aren't exclusive features to the Aperture MCs. But the feature that really did sell me on the Aperture MCs is the ability to link it with the Sidus Link app. And I haven't really seen other video lights and small LED panels like this that have the ability to link to an iPhone app. And the cool thing about the iPhone app is that you can control pretty much everything. You control the different color modes, you control the hue saturation intensity, you can adjust the color temperature, you can adjust the effects. And the cool thing is that you can control multiple of these Aperture MCs at the one time. Plus, if you've got a whole stack, like if you've got 5+, they all link on kind of like an internal private network that's independent of your like Wi-Fi route or anything like that, which means you don't actually have to be too close to the furthest light away from you, as long as that light is close to another light and so on in a chain back to your phone. The other really cool thing about the Sidus Link app is the ability to pick colors using your camera. And again, this is another thing about the app that really sold me on the Aperture MCs, which is that you can point your camera at an object and it will sample the color from that object and then change your light to match, which is, I think, it's a really cool feature. And definitely something that I've never seen with any other video light. However, here's the catch, and this is the thing that I wasn't really expecting when I first bought the Aperture MCs. is just how little I actually use the Sidus Link app. In the first couple of weeks of owning them, I would pull out the app every time and connect it and use that to adjust the colors. But as time's gone on, I've just found it quicker and easier, to be honest, to just use the controls on the side of the lights, rather than having to pull out my phone, wait for them to connect, and then adjust each light individually. And I think that is the thing for me. I think if I was using them on a film set or something like that where there was a lot of them, the app would be pretty much essential. It'd be so time consuming to have to go around to each light, change them individually, turn them on and off individually. But for my use case, where I just have 2 of them and I just use them in this small little room, turn them on and off for my YouTube videos, I think I really don't need the app, which is kind of disappointing in some ways, because I was looking forward to using the app, and that was kind of one of the main reasons why I wanted to buy the Aperture MCs. And the camera color picker is still very useful from time to time, especially if I'm wanting to match the lights to a specific color in my frame. So am I still happy with my purchase of these Aperture MCs? And I think the answer to that is still yes. And I think really the main reason why I am still happy that I bought them is kind of 2 things. One is the quality. Aperture is known for having pretty good quality, and I'm sure they're better quality than some of the Chinese knockoffs that I can find online. Plus, I actually do consider myself a little bit of a brand loyalist. I don't know if you think that's crazy. I'm definitely a loyalist when it comes to Apple products, for example. I've recently switched to Sony. I used to be a Canon loyalist, but now I'm a Sony loyalist. And since having my Aputure 120D Mark II, which is a really amazing light, I absolutely love this light, I've really been converted to Aputure. And so I've been wanting to sort of expand my lighting kit more into the Aputure brand. And so I consider myself buying more Aperture products in the future. And there are other lights that are compatible with the Sidus Link app. So in the future, if I've got multiple lights and I do have a more complex setup, then it's nice to have the ability to be able to sync up my whole system with the one app. Plus, I kind of think of it like Apple AirPods, for example. Apple AirPods aren't necessarily the best sounding AirPods on the market, but they are definitely the most compatible with iPhones, with MacBooks, etc. And they're really designed for that kind of Apple ecosystem. And in the same way, I'm more than happy to sort of delve and get connected into the Aperture ecosystem. Because like I said, I've been really impressed with my Aperture gear so far. It's been relatively affordable and high quality for the price. And so yeah, I'm keen with Aperture. So should you buy an Aperture MC or multiple Aperture MCs? Well, again, I think it really just goes back to your use case. If you need a video light or multiple video lights that can link to a smartphone app so that you can control them all from the phone, then maybe the Aperture MC is a really good choice for you. But if you're using it sort of more for a small YouTube setup like this, and you just need something for some colored fill or some colored accents in your videos, then maybe you don't need something like this. Maybe you could just get away with something a bit cheaper that doesn't have the ability to link it to your app. Or maybe you're a bit like me and in the future you want to expand more into the Aperture ecosystem, or maybe you've already got Aperture lights and you're already becoming a bit of a brand loyalist. In that case, maybe you should buy some Aperture MCs. Either way, they're definitely a really good product. I'm still really happy that I bought them. I've got no real regrets. And I'm keen to get more Aperture lights in the future. So don't forget to check out my creative tech playlist where I talk about all sorts of things relating to creative technology like cameras and lighting. Like the video if you found it interesting, and subscribe if you haven't already. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.